Greetings from the Lao People's Democratic Republic. My name is Lucas R. Clarkson, and I'm an International Baccalaureate Individuals and Societies teacher here at Vientiane International School. I am also an American citizen. This year, my grade 9 students wrote letters to the U.S. President to inform him of the current situation in regards to UXO clearance here in Lao PDR, and to subsequently call for action. The letters came at the end of a unit about the rights and responsibilities of the global citizen. In this video, we will hear from selected students representing several nationalities, including Lao PDR. In their letters, students advocate for continued American funding to go towards organizations working to rid this country of UXOs, and to provide assistance to those that have survived. Our ultimate hope is that through continued efforts, we can help to shine a light on the plight of UXO victims both here in Laos and in other affected countries. Such an effort would bring hope and encouragement to the Lao people, and would likewise help to reinforce America's legacy and reputation as a nation that believes in the rights and dignity of people throughout the world.
Dear Mr. President, in our Individuals and Societies class, we have been exploring what it means to be a global citizen, and how taking responsibility for global justice can bring about solutions for a better and brighter future. Through this investigation, we looked into Laos's history and the lasting negative effect on the country's socio-economic development as a result of the secret bombing missions carried out over Laos by the United States during the Vietnam War. As a global citizen and a Lao resident, I find that it is important for the United States to financially support cluster bomb clearance organizations and to provide for the rehabilitation and economic empowerment of UXO survivors and their families.
The issue of UXOs is one that is still being felt by millions of Lao people 45 years after the end of the Vietnam War. Over the course of the conflict, more than 260 million bombs were dropped on Laos through hundreds of thousands of secret bombing missions conducted by the United States. This resulted in Laos being the most heavily bombed country in the world per capita. According to the Legacies of War website, there are over 300 bomb-related casualties every year, with over 60% of the victims being children. Not only do UXOs threaten the lives of countless Lao individuals, but also the livelihood of thousands of rural families.
Although the U.S. has already provided funds to Laos, a great deal of work still remains. When former President Barack Obama visited Laos in 2016, he promised an additional $90 million to be used over the succeeding 3 years. This money was eventually implemented to finance a comprehensive survey of UXOs that still remain in the ground. This allowed the Lao government and international donors and organizations to plan future responses. Now that the survey is complete, it is time to focus on other areas, such as the clearance of UXOs and risk education. It is essential that those who live in close proximity to UXOs are informed about the ways to recognize UXOs, keep a safe distance from them, and inform organizations who are experienced with disabling these dangerous war remnants. There have been multiple incidents where children find cluster munitions, pick them up, and play with them, resulting in death or serious injuries. Risk education sessions for both grown-ups and children help educate through songs, role plays, and short skits. This kind of outreach partially removes the risk of Lao citizens mishandling UXOs.
There are still many bombs hiding underneath the earth, waiting to be awoken. Those who are living in affected areas may have forgotten about the bombs after many years, or they live in fear, worried about whether their next step will be their last. Contaminated lands cannot be used for agriculture, construction, or even as playgrounds for children. This negatively impacts the everyday life of the Lao people and the country's potential to expand and develop. Many Lao people live in poverty, relying on farming rice to make a living. Poor families should not have to worry about their lives while working hard to provide for their families.
Let me tell you the story of Mai Korli, a young mother living in Vientiane province. Mai Korli was making a fire in her kitchen one day when a bomb exploded in her face. She was immediately taken to the hospital and wasn't released until 2 months later. She was now a UXO survivor, but struggled to adapt to life as a double amputee. Returning home, she realized that her life had changed dramatically. She was forced to crawl on the dirt floor of her home and was no longer able to perform normal household tasks such as cooking and cleaning. She could not work, and her husband's income was not enough to cover the household expenses, putting the family at high risk of poverty. The injuries have taken a toll on Mai Korli's mental health. Her husband resents her for not contributing as much as she used to, and she faces negative reactions from her neighbors and the other villagers. Her children get bullied at school because of their mother's disability, and one of them has left school as a result. All of this has led Mai Korli to feel powerless, ashamed, and sad, and has caused her to withdraw from society. She even sometimes considers suicide.
We cannot force you to act a certain way, Mr. President. However, it is within our right as global citizens to recommend appropriate future actions. Someone of great stature and power like yourself has the ability to take actions which would improve the lives of millions. We hope that this letter will inspire you to do so. Therefore, we ask that the United States continues to donate sufficient funding for longer and more consistent periods of time. This money will go to important organizations such as MAG, COPE, UXO-NRA, and UXO-Lao, which will contribute to UXO clearance, educating rural Lao citizens on the issue, and providing rehabilitation and victim assistance to UXO survivors.
Thank you, Mr. President, for taking the time to read our letter. We are grateful that the U.S. government will consider its contribution to the removal of unexploded cluster munitions in my home country. I also hope that we can raise awareness about the secret war in Laos that occurred so many years ago and left a devastating legacy of UXOs that still contain this beautiful land. Sincerely and respectfully. My name is Kwanmano Sipakania from Laos.
Benedict Toth, Hungary.
Lola Frank, Belgium.